Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
We need to get that other couple to talk
We
about
need to get the other couple. We need them all. Yes.
kink non-monogamous. Monogamous.
Oh,
You say that too fast, you sound like those the aliens from the Muppet Show.
what?
The Menomina.
Yeah. I always think of that when, like, the one where Brooke Shields is doing the I'm falling and they were doing the Menomina in the background.
I saw twice. Once was in Atlanta, and then the other time in our town at the art museum. They had an exhibit of Henson and his whole career, all of his sketches for like early Big Bird. But
that would make me cry.
Oh, it's amazing. But the first thing, I should grab this book somewhere on my shelves here. About like it's a collection of early Henson like sketches and plans and stuff for different characters. But this exhibit, I hope it's still out there somewhere touring, because it's amazing. You walk into the gallery and you kind of have to go down a hallway, and it happened twice, so I think this was everywhere. And there's one Muppet in a case, like light shining down, empty hallway, and you walk by, and like you have to pass it to get into see the rest of the exhibit. And there's no big flashing, there's just one light down on it, and you get up really close, and then you look at the little card that the curator of the exhibit put together. And it just says Menomina.
Amazing.
And
that's exactly what we would do if we got to be cured. This is why we could never have RJ's job, or we should be able to work with RJ.
But what percentage of people, and I'm assuming we're going 90% plus, immediately just go,
you can't not. You can't. It's
because I was like, I recognize the puppet. I wonder what Muppet. I don't know what its name is. Menomina.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
I viewed Naked Attraction this morning.
How much did you watch?
I watched the whole first episode.
Okay.
Interesting program.
Right?
Yes. What was your take on it?
Well, I found it very interesting. It's not something that I will continue to watch, though. I felt like I got the gist and I was good.
Right.
I felt that you cannot judge a person by their body part as far as what the whole package looks like.
Interesting. Okay.
I felt a lot of the people in the first segment,
yes,
didn't really necessarily match.
No, the gentleman, you mean?
Yes, the gentleman.
Yeah.
However, I felt the two of them, who she picked, and the two of them together, clothed and unclothed, I thought they looked really good together. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yes.
It worked that way.
I just spent the entire time thinking, this is a terrible way to pick a person.
It is, but so is what I was trying to describe to my aunt last night. And I was, for some reason, blanking on the show, but how Love is Blind is basically the opposite.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And that's also a terrible way to pick someone.
Is it, though?
Oh, I think so.
I would argue, and I can't believe we're going here, but I would argue Love is Blind or some similar program is a better way to pick a person, because you remove any sort of physical judgments or preconceptions.
Yeah, but you get, I don't know. See, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm just more superficial.
I get it. You want to understand if someone has an elephant tattooed around their genitalia.
And I was glad he owned right away that was a terrible idea.
Yes.
But in defense of his terrible tattoo,
right?
If you can, at least he had the trunk to match the tattoo. Like, yes. It was worthy. But
yes, no, proportion was not an issue.
Proportion was not an issue. But
correct.
I don't know. I find both. I think I need all of it.
Well,
but see, but Joseph, remember, you have a wonderful spouse. I am eternally single. So I perhaps am expecting that you will not pass muster unless you are David Beckham, Lenny Kravitz.
Sure.
John Hamm is having a resurgence in my life because he's suddenly made the morning show interesting again.
Okay, God bless.
I know. Any number of all the people, Keith Richards at any age.
Your Bowies.
Your Bowies. I mean, I need the whole Prince. They don't have to look like a particular, but there has to be a thing. And I think the only way to know the thing is to have the physical, the brain, the whole, you have to have it all. It all has to emerge immediately. I can't start with one and move to the other because I need to make sure the whole aura is there at once.
Fair. No, you're saying that they don't have to be rich to rule your world.
Exactly.
Okay. And you don't have to watch Dynasty?
No. Well, you do have to watch Dynasty. It's one of the greatest shows of all time.
But yes, I would agree.
No particular sign.
No. You just want their extra time.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But not all their time, just their extra time.
Extra time. Yeah, that's important.
Yes.
Because I got stuff to do.
Yeah, I got like 3 shows, a movie, Yeah,
and Prince has got to pose on a motorcycle. That takes a while.
Yes, he does.
I mean, any normal relationship will include both aspects of that. The combination of both a physical look and a just intellectual curiosity. I just feel like on Naked Attraction, there was a lot of trying to justify, well, they look smart or they look whatever it is. And they don't want to say it's purely physical.
Right. And I agree with that they were like, you're on this show, just own it for what it is.
Right. I was also surprised the range of careers or occupations that the people had.
Yes.
Zookeeper, Scottish zookeeper, did not see that one coming.
No, but that's awesome.
That's like a character from Penny Lane.
That is like, you just want to pick that person just so they'll be on the show.
Right. And then there's a few others where I was just like, so I feel like American television, and perhaps just worldwide, reality television now has become less a way to try something outside of your comfort zone, which is the cliche. But there's an element of you're trying to get something out of it.
Correct.
Like we've often said, they're exploiting you. You need to exploit them back, and it's a fair trade if everyone's cool with that. And a lot of these relationship shows of which we speak, a lot of the Bravo shows, there is a secondary market to, well, I can open a restaurant, I can do this, I can become an influencer. And so when these people get on these shows, they have their kind of 5-year plus plan when things worked out.
Yes.
And here's what I'm going to do to kind of make this my brand. This is my thing. Naked Accounting, I don't know where one goes with that.
Let's see if Whitethorn Lodge needs someone to do their taxes.
Yes. Again, Naked Estate Agent is another one where it's just like...
Which I love. The term estate agent is just...
so much better.
So much better.
So much better.
So much better. But I don't know. But maybe, and I'm curious, because no one really seemed uncomfortable in their skin. So are all of these people, and maybe I missed this because I didn't watch lots of episodes.
Say closely.
I did watch closely. Of course, they were naked. Of course, I watched closely.
You couldn't miss Summit. Like suddenly I was just
the credits were like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
Quite literally in your face. The whole thing. Yes.
Which I appreciated, because I do feel if you're gonna do this, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
And
you can't, no pun intended, half-ass it.
You can't half-ass it. And I think and I always get this line wrong. I need to go watch this movie again because it is a really great line in a film. There's a line in Beautiful Girls that Rosie O'Donnell talks about how God is fair and how he gives like the women with the big boobs have short, fat legs, and the women with great legs have no boobs, something like that. But basically, like, you don't get everything. Again, one of the many reasons why I'm single, but because I believe you should have everything. But I
I'll
felt
stop you
on
when I
this,
disagree with you.
I know,
Yeah.
I don't want to be disagreed with. I felt this show really proved that theory, because a lot of those asses did not fit the front.
Yes.
And a lot of those faces didn't fit any of the body. And a lot of people also like looked, you could tell with clothes on, they would look like their body shape was completely different than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And not one might be better or the other might be better. Either way it could, but they just didn't align.
Right. And
And
even,
in the
sorry, go ahead.
grooming, well, no, and also I'm always obsessed with the grooming whenever we talk to naked people. The grooming was all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the second contestant, question mark, similarly, they or she was attracted to both men and women, and so they had a virtual cornucopia in the different colored boxes, which again was a very interesting to watch the whittling down. And half the time I was like, we could make this show so much funnier if we hosted this thing.
Yes, because it's not funny enough. I agree with that.
Yet I also feel like I don't know if I would feel comfortable saying that, asking somebody about how they feel about willies or bums and using those words.
I totally could.
Can you explain exactly not what is coffin racing, but why coffin racing, especially in Manitou Springs? What is the connection to the town?
Yes.
Oh, show and tell. Here we go.
I actually have this great resource guide. It's all about Emma Crawford. And she was a woman that came here in the late 1800s because she suffered from tuberculosis. And many who did came here to be healed from the mineral springs, the healing waters. Like others, Emma did pass. And when she did, her lover and 11 other people carried her body in a casket to the top of Red Mountain here in Manitou Springs. Red Mountain was not owned by the man who buried her there. So when an incline came in to be built, the little attraction ride that you ride up the side of mountains on, they said, you have to remove this body and put it somewhere else. So they dug up her body and moved it to the other side of Red Mountain. And on her second burial, she was buried very shallow under just a few feet of rocks and debris. So it was decades later, but erosion and storms and rainwater and all that stuff that came through, her coffin came up out of the ground and slid down the side of the mountain. So when two young boys hiking found some bones and the nameplate from her coffin, they turned it into the city and they realized that this woman, Emma Crawford, had slid down the mountainside. So it was many, many years after that, probably a good 50 years after she was discovered, having slid down the mountain, that the Chamber of Commerce folks were sitting together and thought, what can we come up with to draw some shoulder season tourists to Manitou Springs? And they recalled this old story about this woman named Emma Crawford, and thus the coffin races were born.
Amazing.
I hope she had a sense of humor. I guess you would have heard from her if she didn't.
I feel like she would be turning up. That may have been her that just passed through the frame.
It's funny you say that, because when I first started doing this event, I had that question, and I had developed a relationship with a local psychic here named Jay. She used to have a shop called Manitou Metaphysical right in downtown. And I said, I would love to channel Emma. I'd love to get her take on the whole coffin race thing. And so we did. And maybe you think, okay, that's a bunch of hoopla. It's, a little.
No.
But when we first sat down, and she only pulls her crystal ball out like twice a year, once for Halloween. And when she first did okay, before we talk about Emma, I opened this portal and the spirits have something to say to you, to me. And I said, okay, well, what's that? And she asked me a few questions and told me a few things that I hadn't even told my cat. Like, I've never said this out loud in my life. And every hair on my body stood up, and everything after that I believed. I would be happy to share the audio with you. I still have it. It's pretty cool about how Emma comes to the event, and she likes to watch, the cars go by, but she's not really a fan of the music because she was a piano player, an artist, and has this real love for, you're thinking late 1800s, early 1900s. Music is a lot different than what we hear today. So that was I think the thing that disgraced her the most. But,
well, hey, if that's the biggest complaint,
right? Well, and don't you feel like if I got dug up and slid down the hill,
oh, you would never stop talking about
it would suck. But if I got to see lots and lots of people having an amazing time, basically in my honor, that would like make me feel way better about my plight, and having tuberculosis on top of it.
Yeah, and being buried 3 times. She did get buried a 3rd time over at Crystal Valley Cemetery here in Manitou. And some another a really key part of her story. Her lover was the man who made the Brooklyn Bridge, that created the Brooklyn Bridge, and subsequently the first track of the Cog Railway up Pikes Peak.
That's amazing.
She could pick them. Yeah,
she could pick them.
Yeah.
Well done, Emma.
So we take the story of Emma Crawford and we say, let's race coffins. Is there a dimension that someone's coffin has to meet?
Great question.
What is the, what are folks racing?
Specs, we call them. We actually just updated our full tech inspect form, and that's going to be for every team that comes to town to race. They have to go through an inspection. The Rocky Mountain Mustangers, our car club that run our tech inspect year after year, really cool folks out there that love to do it. So you have to build within a certain size. And you have to have certain elements on the coffin. So 4 wheels underneath the coffin, and they have to be a max of 8.25 inches. You can only go so wide, so long, and so high. So there's definitely rules you need to follow. Emma has to wear a helmet when she rides in the coffin to go down the street. Of course, we're running uphill about 500 feet on our race course. So it's not a super long course, but you are going uphill and you're pushing a body in a coffin uphill. So it does take some gusto from the runners as well.
I feel like we missed a part. We're pushing a body up a hill.
Oh, yes.
This coffin is occupied.
Yes, Emma rides in the coffin.
Yes. But this Emma is breathing. This is a living, breathing person posing as Emma. Right.
So each team is 5 people, 4 pallbearers or 4 runners, and an Emma. That's your rider. We have a Best Emma competition. So we'll crown a Miss Emma every year. We also have a Best Entourage. So in the parade preceding the races, you can bring, beyond your team of 5, everybody and their mother that wants to come along and be a part of the whole parade and environment. And we'll do a Best Entourage award. Our judges will judge based on the stage, which is kind of midway through the race course. And then we have a Best Team theme. So sometimes the themes get really kind of crazy and kooky. You might always have a Scooby-Doo team, but you might not always have dead Barbies. And we'll definitely have that this year.
Oh, for sure.
No, that's going to be more than enough.
Yes, for sure.
So what are some of the popular themes? Mystery Machine makes total sense. I'm assuming the coffin is painted to look like the Mystery Machine.
Yes. Coffins are painted. Coffins are built very down to the last minute detail. And I'm thinking right off the top, we have a group that comes back most years called the Steampunk Zombies. And their coffin, no doubt, weighs hundreds of pounds because they build it with steel reinforced, and it's really impressive. It's a piece of art. Are they racing for best time? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it does seem like a competition where victory is not necessarily the end all be all, right? But as much a be seen and
but it's definitely one where like any of the categories are good. Like any victory is a good victory. Like being Miss Emma of the year would be amazing.
And a few years back we had a local, I want to say costume designer, but that's not the right word. Artist that sews plenty of things, including costumes, make Miss Emma's whole gown beautiful. So to not only have the Miss Emma win, but also for this artist to have Miss Emma winning, Miss Emma wear her dress, was really, really amazing to award, and really kind of seals up our creative quarter and our creative district here in Manitou Springs. That, we have creatives that are musicians and painters and muralists and sewers and you name it. To show that off in Manitou Springs is a real big part of the rich cultural heritage that we have, and this tradition now in 29 years of coffin racing that's really each year gets bigger and bigger.
And that's kind of the thing, you got to really put the hammer down some of these folks, to make sure that they're following the rules. And my father, if he saw this coffin racing, he would be disgusted, right? I mean, I noticed on the website you have it says after races, race for coffin cup / frozen dead guys versus coffin races. What are the frozen dead guys?
That's a good question. So back when we started 29 years ago, we were the only coffin race in Colorado. And then about 7 years in, there was this big thing that happened in Nederland, Colorado, where a man was frozen cryogenically in a tough shed. His name is Grandpa Brado, and the city of Nederland said, let's do a little of our own coffin racing around this. It's a little different there. Frozen Dead Guy Day races, you carry your coffin with 6 pallbearers and a rider, which is Grandpa Brado, over a snowy obstacle course. So now when our team goes up to Nederland to compete, they have to convert their coffin, take the wheels off, and make it something you carry, and add a few team members. And likewise, when the Nederland folks would come to Manitou Springs, they have to take put wheels on their coffin and reduce 2 members of their team. But we've kind of started this thing back and forth back in the 90s, early 2000s, and then it died off, pun intended. But when I came in about 7 years ago, we resurrected the coffin cup between us and have had such a great time with it. Since last year, I'm not sure what the future looks like past this year, because the coffin races are now housed in Estes Park, which bought the festival from the organizers in Nederland. So future is kind of indeterminate, but we are racing for the Coffin Cup this year here in Manitou. So fingers crossed we continue in Estes Park next March.
Yes.
So this is still, the coffin racing itself is up in the air.
Not yours, the other one.
I say that the
Yeah,
other. Okay, I was gonna say, if you have a heart, like, how do you shut down coffin racing?
Well, and I hope that it keeps going. It sounds like they're interested in keeping that tradition alive. It's just kind of fun. We're the only state that does coffin racing, and we have 2 distinct communities that are doing it. We should have
2 distinct races that also play well together. You can't get rid of this. This is a big deal.
Yeah. So in the time that you've been working on the racing, do you have a favorite design? Obviously, all the designs are different and each one has something. I would hate to be the steampunk folks and find out you got to go carry that thing up a mountain.
Well, they know what they're getting into.
I know, but still, your top hat's going to get all sweaty.
Well, but you do it to show that steampunk is tough. Yeah. And steampunk zombies know how to do it.
Even tougher, yeah.
Right.
But sorry, you were saying, Shanna.
I don't want to say a favorite. I don't want to play favorites. I will say that
some of the more popular ones, let's put it that way, perhaps.
Well, and I'll just remind myself, our longest running team right now that's back this year is Emma's Wake. Emma's Wake, followed by the Pikes Peak Roller Derby. But Emma's Wake, every year, they are your traditional, painted face, wearing your tie, like you are a legitimate pallbearer, and the top hat. And then Emma's just every year she's just got this regal dress on, like of the era, late 1800s, beautifully done with the lace and the big bouffant. And then this half chewed off zombie face, with the crazy eye. Like, I mean, if you, you have to see it to know like how great it is. How early does she have to get up in the morning to make that zombie face happen? How much are all of these folks putting into costuming, preparing, building a coffin? The amount of time and effort for everybody who's involved in this event is what blows me away. I mean, from my side, yes, a lot of planning goes in, but for everybody to show up the way they do is amazing. You cannot show up in Manitou on Coffin Race Day without a costume. You will stand out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I don't even know what I'd want our theme to be.
Very sad looking dog.
No, that's terrible. It's depressing.
We're talking about a coffin. Let's just.
I know, but
Jenna,
like creepy instead of sad.
So here's a fun one. We had the Baywatch folks do a Baywatch costume.
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
All in swimsuits, and they slow-moed the whole race.
That's amazing. That's brilliant.
This is what you would want.
Yes.
And I don't know how long you've done this aspect of it, but I noticed you are streaming this all online, so one doesn't even need to go to Manitou, find parking. We can watch this from the comfort of our own homes.
Yes, imagine that. One year
my kids are going to be so excited.
We had 7 countries represented a few years ago.
Awesome.
So for the live stream, it was amazing that their friends and family, way far away, were able to tune in and watch. This year we've got the drone coming back, which is super cool. You get those great aerial shots, so you can kind of see the magnitude of the event. And then we have that ticker at the bottom, that live leaderboard. So when your team races, you know immediately as soon as you cross that finish line, it's uploaded. You know where you are.
Now, are there different heats of the coffin, or is everybody at once?
Oh no, every two at a time. So, but it's still overall best time. But you can be competitive with whoever you're racing. Number 1 races number 2, so on.
What are there repeat winners? Is there sort of like a elite group of coffin racers?
We do right now have, the last few years they've been our pride and joy top runners, the boys, sponsored by our local Adams Mountain Cafe. It's, the owners, 2 of them are her sons, and they're kind of the new age of coffin racers, and they're the ones that have been going up and showing up in Frozen Dead Guy days and keeping the Coffin Cup in Manitou's name. So nice. They're back again this year.
That's wonderful. That's got to warm your cold dead heart to see the next generation coming and taking this. And
do people train all year? How long do they train for this?
How do you train for that?
Right. Did you see random people pushing coffins up mountainsides?
There's certainly an athletic element to it if you want to be a top runner. We've had times where people just ditch their coffin in the middle of the race and go into the bar, just to be fun with it. But I think that we've also outlawed professional athletes. We want to keep this event open so that anybody can enjoy it and not feel like you're automatically at the bottom of the ranks. Like, this is for all.
So juicing, you doing any blood testing?
Yeah,
we're not to that point yet.
We haven't implemented that yet, but and hopefully never have to.
Yeah, is there an evil Russian team? Or just Eastern European, I guess.
Yeah,
there's still an opening if you would like to bring your evil Russian team.
I mean,
don't threaten me with a good time. What I'm saying, that sounds amazing. And we didn't cover, I don't think, what is the length of the track that these folks are running?
Oh, just about 500 feet.
Okay, so I'm assuming they reach some speeds here as they're on this thing.
A good bit. Yeah. I might recommend a little YouTube video that the Pikes Peak Library District did a few years back. They've got just kind of a great overall history of the event. Here's what some of the racing teams are looking like coming out in all their costumes and all their glory. Just a full recap of our crowd and all the costumes, the really cool stuff that you see. The parade too, we haven't really touched on. We do have a hearse parade prior to the races, and then anybody can come out and just be in the parade. Like if you want to grab a few friends and dress up and come on down, like be a part of the action.
Amazing.
Manitou Springs the date this year? Sorry.
Oh, yes, that's the important thing too.
October 28th.
And Manitou Springs just sounds like anywhere in Colorado sounds lovely, but you've got coffin racing, you've got fruitcake tossing.
It's
I feel like I say it a lot, but who could ask for anything more?
Right.
Well, there is more.
Oh my God.
Do Carnival as well. And I'm hearing rumblings about some connections with the big boys down in New Orleans this coming year.
Ooh.
Wow.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. The ultimate Fat Tuesday.
Big celebration, a gumbo cook-off, a carnival, masquerade ball, and then a full-on carnival parade.
That's awesome.
We need to maybe be making flight reservations.
I think we do. We need to just have some sort of flat there that we just go in for each of the events throughout the year.
Yeah, this sounds amazing. Anything else we should know about coffin racing or just Manitou Springs? Like if this isn't a big enough, like you've got to go to this place.
So what else have you got?
Yeah. Impress us.
That's it.
Come on.
I don't know. There's a lot. We could talk for an hour about it. We do a great big after party. Really, for us, it's a huge day for our downtown, mostly bars and restaurants. After the summer season, you get that, deep dive right before we hit winter. It's tough. We're not a ski community. We're a summer tourist destination. So for them, this is like that. It's Black Friday in October. It's like that huge day where you're like, wow, we're going to pay the bills today.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to bring these people in so that we can really boost that economic, driver in our local shops. So bring people in and let them have a good time. There's live music going on all day. If you're out in town at like 9:00 on that night, you're hardcore. It's an endurance game. It's a marathon. The people that are out way past dark, they've been hitting it since probably 7 a.m. Yeah, those are our diehard locals for sure.
Professionals, yes.
Professionals.
What is it about the town that everything has a sense of humor about it? Not that I don't take coffin racing seriously, but there seems to be an inherent joy of ridiculous, fun to all of this stuff.
So Manitou was referred to once in a New York Times article as a hippie Mayberry. And it really very much is that. Our residents really have stopped up. We don't have any big box businesses. We're all local owned and operated. There's a Subway. That's about as far as we go into the corporate world. And there's an unofficial motto in Manitou of keep Manitou weird. Whether or not we took that from Austin or they took it from us, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But it's true. Like there's all kinds of weird here, and it's celebrated by everyone, by all. So you can be exactly who you are, and there's no judgment. Manitou's this little safe pocket where we just like to have a good time, and it's all about this pretty awesome hippie Mayberry community.
The Emma Crawford Coffin Race is happening this year, October 28th. For more information, to sign up and enter your own coffin, or to just watch it live anywhere in the world, check out their website, coffinraces.com.
Why the Podcast is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because we're shallow and need constant validation. For more information, you can check out our website, whythepodcast.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hedquist and myself from our world headquarters, located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This was for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?